Snakes alive.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts Casinos. And we are live from Studio K, brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle by downloading their app now. I got something I want to talk to you guys about. A little theory I've been tossing around because obviously we know how things operate here in sports in Arizona. Teams that are average or not very good tend to get ignored. Teams, once they start winning, kind of get attention, but it's not until there's full-blown momentum that they get paid attention to. And it's a little theory that I like to call second sibling syndrome, right? Because Arizona sports teams, because we're such a transient city, they tend to be that second favorite team for a lot of people. That generation or two that have moved here and still like the teams from wherever they came from. Now, there's a strong base of us that have started to be born here and only root for the teams here, but I still think we're a few generations away from that being the norm. So this second sibling syndrome that we suffer from is the fact that, you know, fans are okay and kind of apathetic about when these teams don't play great. They kind of ignore it. Kind of like that second sibling in a house. The first child gets all this helicopter parenting. They get all the attention. They get all sorts of pressure put on them. The second child, it tends to wane a little bit. That pressure's less. That attention's less. They're not hawkish over them. I feel that's what's going on with our sports teams. When they surprise and they delight, there's some attention. Kind of like that second sibling. And when they do something great that's unexpected, that's when the spotlight turns to them. That's what happens here in the Valley. And sometimes weight of expectation becomes too much because they're not used to the weight of that expectation because usually they're not getting paid attention to. So when all the focus is on them, sometimes it becomes too much. I mean, second siblings feel less pressure to outperform their first sibling. I think teams in this town, knowing that the fan base is somewhat apathetic, don't have that pressure that the New Yorks, the LAs, some of the other cities that, you know, the Chicagos, that these teams feel this great weight and they go out and perform to it because they're used to it. Here it's rare for a team to get saddled with that. Usually it's the surprise and delight that winds up having the most success here. You know, and it's easy for these teams and that second sibling to feel like they're lost in the shuffle, to feel like they're not paid attention to. I mean, just listen to Torey Lovello and, you know, Kenny Dillingham essentially saying, hey, we're good over here. Please come out and watch these games. Come support us. I think our teams suffer from second sibling syndrome. They're treated like that. They take that approach. And it's going to take time to overcome that. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. Before we welcome in the mustache behind the Mac, I want to talk a little Diamondbacks with you as well. You look at what they're doing. We talked a bit about it yesterday, but they have been unbelievable lately. Last night, they're down 4-0 to the Giants. They storm back. Their bullpen pitches 4 scoreless innings, something that I don't think any of us imagined that this bullpen would accomplish this season after the way it started and all the injuries. And then you look at it, and they were unbelievable last night. They kept themselves a game and a half back of the Mets. They pushed the Giants 3 games back. They've got the Reds 3 games back of the Mets. If the Mets continue to lose, they're 12-13 since August 18th. If they continue to lose, the Diamondbacks have put themselves in an actual position to contend for this third wild card spot. You look at where they were this time in 2023, the World Series year. They were 77 and 72. They were tied for that third wild card spot. Right now, they're 77 and 75. Not that far off of where they were, and they went on to surprise. They're a game and a half back. They close that gap, all bets are off. But I don't think a lot of people understand what the catalyst to this was. People look and they sold off players at the deadline, right? They got rid of guys in a big way. Everybody thought that was waving the white flag. Even at the beginning of August, they kind of were the same team they'd always been, in and out, 500, trying to find their way. Until one thing happened. There is a moment that Geraldo Perdomo stepped in front of the media and had this to say to the media.
And whatever happened today happened, you saw we lost. But I wanna get something clear about one of my teammates. I'm tired of this. It's gonna be for all reporter and all the writer. Like, it's been this is the second time something came out from Marte. Please, he just want to play baseball. I don't want to speak as a team. I want to play as a brother. He just want to play baseball. Just let the guy alone. It's been too much for him. You know what I mean? I feel he doesn't deserve that. And whatever happened in the past, it was in the past. We're playing good baseball right now, and I feel we just want to have fun and we just want to play. Just please, you guys have to stop. You know what I mean? Whoever writing, whoever saying shit in the media or outside, please, we just want to play baseball and keep that guy alone, please.
A lot of people at the time kind of poo-pooed this, almost made fun of this when Geraldo Perdomo stood up for his teammate Ketel Marte. But I think that was the moment that galvanized this clubhouse. I think that was the moment that the Diamondbacks found their leader, found the guy who is the anchor of everything that they do. And he's doing it with an injury. He's been playing with a severely bruised hand for most of this year. At one point, Torey Lovullo said, quote, "It was touch and go there, but I tried to take him out of the lineup." And he's like, "I'm playing. You're not taking me out of this lineup." I mean, that says everything you need to know about Geraldo Perdomo. Before he even stepped in front of the media to defend his teammates, he was going out there and playing severely injured, right? And it was, he fought through it. It took mental toughness to do this. Torey Lovullo's talked about all that. But since that speech, since Geraldo Perdomo made that speech in front of the media, the Diamondbacks are 17 and 10. They have the fourth best record in baseball since he said that on August 17th. Perdomo is hitting .310, has 6 home runs, which are 6 of his 19 of the year, has 18 RBI, 5 stolen bases, an on-base percentage of .417, a slugging percentage of .580, and an on-base percentage of .997. He's hands down the best shortstop in the game. He's done everything that this team needs. He has the highest WAR in the National League if you take out Shohei Ohtani's pitching stats. He's the 5th best in Major League Baseball. This guy has went and turned this team from a team that was floundering to a team that now is on the cusp of making it back into the playoffs. Geraldo Perdomo is an MVP candidate in the National League. If they get into the playoffs, he better get votes, because this guy has done it on and off the field to turn this around, to turn this team into what we thought they could be back after the 2023 World Series. He's galvanized that locker room. They are having fun again. And that's when this team is dangerous. Credit to Torey Lovullo for pulling some of the right strings, but big credit to Geraldo Perdomo, who I think, and I'm included in this, gets a little overshadowed by Corbin Carroll and the flashiness and the big numbers. But Perdomo has done so much for this team. Torey Lovello talked about it yesterday after the game, had this to say about Perdomo.
Yeah, he's a prime example of what I want an Arizona Diamondback to be every single day. And we're drawing a lot of energy from him. He's an inspiration to everybody, including the coaches. So I admire what he's put his body through this year. And he should be exhausted at the end of the game. That's the time of the year it is. And at the end of the night, you're leaving it all out there no matter what. So you should empty your tank and feel the way he feels. But he's done it on a real impressive performance level. There's been no let up for him. It's been extremely consistent. He's approaching 100 RBIs and just very productive at bats and an anchor on this team. And we're building around him. There's one player that's leading the charge for us is definitely Jerry, without a doubt. He leads the National League in WAR in some publications. So that's minus Ohtani's pitching WAR, but he's like at 6'3", 6'4", something like that. That absolutely should give him some consideration for sure. And then I know it's weighted differently because I get to watch him work every day, but I know the league is taking notice of him. Some of the other staff members, some of the other managers, a lot of them ask me about Perdomo often. And what you see is what you get. And when you get a little bit deeper, it gets even better.
He's the best shortstop the Diamondbacks have ever had. I'd argue he's the best shortstop in baseball right now. He's the heartbeat of this club. He's a guy that Torey Lovello just said is the piece that you build around. The guy that is the man that you're building this foundation on. Corbin Carroll's one of them as well, obviously, but Geraldo Perdomo is that guy, the bedrock of this team. They've got to close it out. They've got a tough schedule, and you still need the Mets to continue to be the New York Mets over the next week and a half. But if it happens, Geraldo Perdomo should take some hardware home, because that's how good he's been. Welcome in the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach. Shane, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you doing, Espo?
I'm doing all right. Geraldo Perdomo, MVP?
No.
in the conversation in the NL? Because of what he's done?
Mean, if you had to, I think if anybody's voting for him to win the MVP, like a first-place vote, I think that's egregious. Just because of how good Ohtani has been.
That's fair. I get that.
But yeah, if I have a vote to place him third, second, fourth, I would 100% do it.
I hate the concept of most valuable player, because how do you determine what most valuable means, right? And
there needs to be parameters for every league.
Yeah, because Shohei Ohtani has been amazing, but he's also playing on a star-studded team in LA that spent more money than the gross domestic product of some third world countries on the roster.
Yeah, but that doesn't help you hit 50 home runs.
No, but when you look at it, Perdomo's on a team that's been decimated by injuries, a team that's not a huge payroll, an okay payroll, and what he's been able to do to help them turn it around. To me, that's more valuable than a guy on a flashy team putting up big home run numbers. It just is to me. Now, if Ohtani was out there being the dominant pitcher we once thought he was, and 50 home runs, maybe it's a different conversation. But to me, most valuable means you've done more with less. You've been the guy that helps turn the tide. You've done stuff that others aren't expected to do. If we want to talk most talented player, Shohei Ohtani wins it every year. There's no doubt in his just innate talent and what he's able to do with it. But valuable to me means something completely different. It's why Steve Nash wins 2 MVPs instead of Shaq or Kobe or LeBron getting those MVPs in those years, because he was more valuable to his team and what they did in the league than being the most talented or the gaudiest stats. To me, that's what valuable means.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think he'll win. I think he deserves consideration if they make it into the playoffs, but I also don't think he gets enough love except from the diehard D-backs fans in the Valley either. And some of that's on talking heads like myself who have not brought it up enough. But a team that was supposedly going down the drain, circling the drain, and then embroiled in a controversy, and he stood in front of that and said, "I'm the leader. I'm gonna make this comment." I have the utmost respect for Perdomo doing that in the moment, and I think that they're going to pull this off. I really think that, because there's so much momentum right now. And this is the kind of thing, when even with the second sibling syndrome that we talked about, where these teams find a way in the valley in an odd way, because they don't care. You don't expect it. They're the ones here ruining the party for others. And I think there's something that Arizona teams like about that. Coming up on the other side of the break, Nike disrespects Devin Booker, and we talk a few updates from the Arizona Cardinals. That's next, right here on Southwest Bias. I tell you almost every day about my friends at Circle K. I stop there every morning, and I have a new little habit that I do. I tell you about the Coke Zero I pick up there. But now I'm getting protein bars too, because you know what? Sometimes you need to fuel your body, not just with caffeine, but with food as well. I've never done a great job at it. I wasn't a breakfast person, but Circle K has helped convert me to that. And I want to help convert you to the Inner Circle. You got to come in and become a member of the Inner Circle today. It's free. It costs you nothing. You download the Circle K app, put in a little bit of information, and bam, you're going to save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Then bam, 3 cents per gallon on your next fill-ups in your gallons of when you fill up. Then 5 cents when you hit that Espo level, you're saving 5 cents per gallon. It's that easy. Then it's 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters. I believe it's 3 for $5, 28-ounce Gatorades. And visit once in a month, and you're going to save 10% or 10 cents off per gallon. One visit equals a minimum of a $5 purchase or a 5-gallon fill-up. And you can earn that once a week this month. So you're going to save that 10 cents along with what you're doing just because you're an Inner Circle member and you're stopping by Circle K. So I highly recommend it. Check them out. Join the Inner Circle today for free by downloading that Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply like everything in life. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for details. And got to tell you about our friends at Mountain America Credit Union. They have the MyStyle Checking Account. And you're going to want to be part of it, because your lifestyle is going to play right into the MyStyle Checking Account. You can save on restaurant purchases. You're going to have mobile phone protection, telehealth access. We all want it. You need it. Identity protection. Nobody wants my identity, but maybe they want yours, and you got to protect yourself when they try to steal it. Loan rate discounts. All of us need that, myself included. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Offers on travel events, because we all could use a vacation right around now. And oh, so much more. 1.2 million people are members of Mountain America Credit Union. So why aren't you? Get the MyStyle and make it your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/MyStyle to apply. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration and activation. Terms and conditions and exclusions apply. We got to talk Cardinals. We talked about them yesterday. We got injury updates this morning from Coach Jonathan Gannon, and it's better than we hoped. Still not great. Garrett Williams and LJ Collier are both on the IR. They hope they'll return later in the year. So that's a hit, and that's not the greatest thing to deal with, right? Max Melton's going to practice today. That's huge. That means one of your corners is going to be locked in for Sunday, and you very much need that. Will Johnson, Sub-Zero, not going to practice today. They're going to monitor him throughout the week. I think bare minimum you need Melton and Will Johnson out there on Sunday to be able to get a dub. That defense cannot sustain not having quality corners to be able to get that pressure. We saw it in the second half on Sunday against the Panthers. That pressure became less once you lost the safety valves in the secondary because you can't take as many chances. This defense can't afford to have both Williams and Johnson out on Sunday. They need at least Johnson and Melton to be there. And then the offense needs to stand up. And like we talked about yesterday, targets, wide receiver targets, in particular the Marvin Harrison Jr., felt like they were extremely low, that this offense needs to figure it out. But they have a lot to figure out because according to fantasy points data, the Arizona Cardinals wide receivers are targeted at the lowest rate in the NFL. That's right, 39%. The second lowest is at 42%, the Steelers. 39%. That you're not going to get big plays. You're not going to be able to run an effective offense in today's NFL if only 39% of your passes are going to wide receivers, and in particular, who's supposed to be your big playmaker in Marvin Harrison Jr. They're going after tight ends. They're targeting tight ends at 41%, the highest in the NFL by 9%. The Steelers are the second highest. This team needs to figure out this offense. And I get it. Trey McBride deserves his touches as well. Higgins played well against the Panthers. So some of that skews it, especially 2 games in. But more proof that Drew Petzing has got to figure out how to get that passing game going as well. We're scrolling right now, taking a look at what I saw throughout the internet over the last evening since you've been gone, and then we're back here with you. Another thing I noticed was that ESPN put out their rankings for teams over the next 3 years and how they feel about them. And they ranked the Phoenix Suns 30th. 30 out of 30, how they feel about the future of the Suns when looking at things. I know it's skewed a little bit, and Bobby Marks was a big part of this, and Bobby Marks is a capologist, which when you look at the cap, it's better than it was, but it still has its flaws, especially with that Bradley Beal dead money, so there's things to be considered there. But they were 19th last year. And the Kevin Durant factor is big, but he late 30s. Projecting 3 years out, it's tough. Bradley Beal was still a giant question mark. They were, I believe they were the oldest team in the NBA last year. They're now the 3rd youngest as of a few weeks ago. And they still rank them dead last in the NBA. They have their players ranked at 26th, their money ranked at 22nd, their draft ranked at 3rd, their management ranked at 28th, and their market size ranked at 6th. Now, I don't understand how it's probably weighted in different ways. I don't understand how you're only 30th in one category and you wind up 30th overall. But to me, there's hope. I don't understand how they're dead last in the NBA. Things have to go right, but that's with any team. Any team gets a major injury over the next year, they're going to plummet in that ranking. Devin Booker in his prime. Jalen Green, a guy that has the potential to break out and be a star. Your defense is better. Your center rotation is no longer the worst in the NBA. You've got youth, promising youth in Kaman Malawach, Ryan Dunn, Oso Iguodala, Rasheer Fleming. Even Kobe Brea has gotten some attention because of his ability to shoot. Yes, your draft is wonky because you don't have any first-round picks that you can trade. I get that. That's not something you can change. Front office, Brian Gregory has to prove himself. I think he had a very solid offseason, but we're going to see over the next few years how it pans out. I understand that there's some doubt in it, but worst in the NBA over the next 3 years just does not make sense to me. There's so much more promise than I feel like there was even last year. There was no path, you thought, last year once they finished out of the play-in. You looked at it and you went, Bradley Beal is unsalvageable, which has been the truth. You had to walk away from him. Kevin Durant was getting older. You had no draft capital and no youth on your roster and no cap flexibility. They were 19th last year, but now they're 30th after you've done things that actually started to help make you look a little bit better for the future. I think the 3-year outlook now is less bleak than the 3-year outlook was at the end of last season. I would much rather have the Suns' future than the Bulls' future. I'd much rather have the Suns' future than where the Pelicans are sitting right now. Hell, you can't tell me that the Charlotte Hornets are in a better spot because we've seen the Charlotte Hornet for years. I think they are significantly better than the worst team in the NBA in terms of what they might be able to accomplish over the next 3 years. They have smaller contracts now that they can aggregate to make a bigger trade thanks to getting under the aprons and changing the roster over. There's talent here that people will want if you're trying to make a bigger move. You've got opportunity here. I don't think that ESPN did this fairly. Do I think they're a top 20? No. But they're more like 24, 25. I don't think they're the worst future over the next 3 years in the entire NBA. There's a chance they prove me wrong, but I don't think that they are the worst team over the next 3 years. Hell, I would argue that maybe the 76ers future looks bleaker with what you're dealing with injuries, the Paul George contract, all sorts of things that Philly has problems with. I think they deserve to be in a conversation around there. And I get it, Joel Embiid, MVP candidate. Yeah, Devin Booker, I think, is just as good as Joel Embiid when you take into account health. When you take that into account, and you can't not take that into account when it comes to Joel Embiid. Talking about Devin Booker, Nike is about to release these shoes that honor the Olympics and the guys that were in the Olympics, the guys on their roster right now. And they dropped some photos of this. And one of the things that we saw from Devin Booker was the camcorder, right, during the Olympics. He walked around with that thing, old school 90s style camcorder, the kind of thing you saw Shaq with at the dunk contests back in the day. They have two different styles of the shoe, and both of them in the tongue of the shoe have a cartoon version of Devin Booker looking through the viewfinder of this. Actually, I don't even think they have him looking through the viewfinder. They have him looking at the screen in a very odd way in this camera, but that's not my beef with it. He's wearing the headband. It looks like Klay Thompson. It doesn't even look like Devin Booker. You put a Walmart version of Devin Booker's image on here that looks like Klay Thompson on book ones. On freaking book one. I don't ever remember Devin Booker with that kind of a beard even. That thick of a beard? This is Klay Thompson. Shane, am I wrong? Is this not Klay Thompson?
No, that's the first thing I saw too.
It's 100% Klay Thompson on the shoe. Nike, look, you got access to the best artists in the world. The best. Nobody looked at this and said, that doesn't quite look like Book. Maybe we should go back to the drawing board. Nobody went, he doesn't look like he's looking into the viewfinder. You're a camera guy, Shane. Does this look right to you too?
No, it looks like they have his eye like touching the screen.
What is he see? What is he seeing here? Absolutely nothing. Maybe he's trying to ignore how the photo looks, how the caricature of him looks. Maybe that's what's on the camera screen. I don't understand it. He's a signature athlete. This is a signature shoe, and he can't get it right. I hate to say, I think AI probably could have done a better cartoon version. No, not artificial intelligence. I think that you could have had AI, the basketball player, actually draw better. Allen Iverson could have sketched Devin Booker better. Another former U.S. Olympian could have sketched Devin Booker better than what Nike got on this. I guess at least it's in the tongue of the shoe, so nobody's going to see it while you're wearing them. But I'm sure they'll still sell pretty well. But the first thing I saw when I looked at this was 100% Klay Thompson. And I can't stop seeing Klay Thompson there. Maybe that's why ESPN ranked him the 30th worst over the next 3 years, because they confused Devin Booker with Klay Thompson and said, oh, yeah, that guy's over the hill. That's another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. Big thanks to the mustache behind the Mac, one of the busiest men at PHNX, Shane Diefenbach. You can follow him at Shane Dief. You can follow the program at PHNX_sports. And you can follow me at Espo. And remember, snakes are alive. The Suns aren't as bad as you think. And it's time to get some wins in the Valley, even though they're the second siblings. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.